Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and we're at the Gyro Park across from Granite Manor and sitting on a nice comfortable bench here. And today my talk is about gratitude. That asks you the question, ask you and I the question, is anybody listening? Now, from all the information that I gather from talking to people and from reading things as it applies to seniors, one of the most rewarding things we can do as a senior or a person who's lost somebody or lost maybe a family member or a loved one, and is to accept gratitude is a way of life. Now, in gratitude, we're to give thanks for what we still have in life and what we have had. Now, when I say have had, that means to say that all the growing up period of your life and when your family was becoming grown and you still had a wife alive, you have to be thankful for all the things that you had right up to the point of life we're at now. So when you're at the point of life where you've just got yourself left, where your wife has passed on because of medical issues, but you have your family members, you have a couple sons left and grandchildren, and you have to be thankful for them. But more so to think about if we wake up in the morning. I spoke to a friend, Bob from Castlegar today, and he's 82 years old, and I'm going to be 88 next time around. And if you wake up in the morning, you have to be thankful. Thankful for a night's sleep. And if you wake up in the morning, that means to say that you're all set to go for another day. That means you have another day to enjoy. And we have to give thanks. We have to be grateful for that. So I guess my question is somebody listening? Hopefully St. Peter is listening, and maybe people who have passed on are listening. We don't know that. That's going to be a surprise when we finally meet our Maker when the time comes. But looking at the days, each morning you wake up, be thankful that you woke up in the morning, and be thankful that you had a really nice evening sleep. And if you're well rested and you're able to make yourself a bite of breakfast, you do that. And then if you're able to drive, you can still go downtown, jump in your car and go downtown and visit some people at the restaurants, or take a nice country drive. And even looking farther at the bigger picture, I'm taking the approach that I don't spend too much time watching TV, and I don't spend too much time driving, because the exercise is more important as we age. So in the morning, after I make a bite to eat, I look in the mirror and say, hey, I feel good. I'm going to go and have a nice walk. So we walk down and walk down to Waits and have coffee, and then walk down past Safeway to the mall and have coffee at the mall. And today we walked through Baker Street and back up just opposite Granite Manor where we live, and that will give me about 10,000 steps, which is 5 miles. So we have to be grateful for the strength, the physical strength and the emotional strength that it takes to walk. And when we're young, we can just put one foot in front of the others, and we can run up and down the hallways and climb up mountains and go fishing and climb hills and go hunting, or whatever we want. But as we get older, it takes a little bit more effort. So rather than sit and watch TV and let our muscles go soggy, we chose to walk. We choose to walk every day. So average now between 3 and 5 miles. 10,000 steps gives you about 5 miles. So I think it behooves us to give thanks, be thankful for everything we've had in our life. We've had a good job. I've had a good family and a lot of good friends. Played a lot of music and acquired a lot of nice friends learning how to play music, and also a lot of fellow workers that we work with already remain good friends. And sometimes we don't really realize until we go into a hospital or a care home and find somebody laying in bed who has been a friend of ours, who actually played music, and who's been a long-term friend that we can talk to and joke to over the years. But now the person is just a bundle of bones. Alzheimer's has got to in some cases where their mind is not sharp anymore, and you can't banter and tell a funny story and do things like we used to. Now, a friend of mine, Larry Raske, who was a tremendous steel player, I visited him in the Okanagan in the care home there, and his daughters decided to keep him alive, and I said to her one day, "What are you doing?" I'd been talking to Larry, and he didn't recognize me. He could say Bob, Bob, but he couldn't carry on a conversation. He's laying there, and he couldn't move his eyes from side to side. He couldn't turn his head, and they were spoon feeding him, pouring stuff in, and they wound up cutting a hole in his throat and putting a hose down his throat so they could pour some food into his stomach. And so I said to his daughter, "It's not my business." I said, "But Larry, it's a good, I've known him for 40 years, a good friend of mine. What are you doing?" She said, "Well, Dad wants to live as long as he can." I said, "Yes, you want him to live as long as he can. And yes, he deserves to live as long as he can if he's in good health and having a good time." I said, "But Larry, I've known him for 40 years, and we're standing there leaning over him and looking into his eyes. He couldn't turn his eyes sideways. I had to lean over and stare into his face in order to see his eyes. And he wasn't conversing and telling me anything about the good times that we've had playing music over the years. And he couldn't even smile. So at that point in time, there was no good times to rehearse or to relive anymore. So I think the rate to die with dignity now helps us. There are a few people out there who are quite religious and they don't believe in that. But if you think about this, you're going to be lying in a hospital bed, staring at the roof, and you don't know your own name, and you can't talk to your family, and you can't interpret what they're saying anymore. Is that really what we want? And it's an individual choice. It's a tough choice to make. But in my particular case, I've told my two sons, put it in writing and told them, "Look, I paid for my funeral. It's prepaid for. And I want you to make darn sure that you don't put me through the existence till the very end." So they're told, if I'm in the hospital or care home and I've got chronic disease where there's no chance of me recovering at all, or I've got Alzheimer's so bad that they come to see me and I can't call them by name, at that point there's nothing left for me to enjoy. Because if you can't recognize them, you can't smile. Like my friend Larry, he couldn't smile anymore. And it's terrible, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I want all you people out there listening to take a sober look at your lives. I've got mine done. I have my right to die with dignity forms. You get them from the doctor, and they have to be signed and checked by two doctors to make sure that you're in good enough shape, that they're not going to put you to sleep. When the time comes when your family watch you and they find that you've wound down to the point now where you don't recognize them anymore, or you've got an incurable disease and you're laying in bed and you're not able to get out of bed and do things anymore and enjoy life as you should do, as God created you to begin with, I feel it's time to go. Now that's my right to die with dignity. And I'm not trying to push that onto anybody else. I'm just saying that it's our choice. And it doesn't matter what the Bible says or what people say that God says. It's our individual choice. Do you want to lay in bed for 5 or 6 months or maybe a couple of years staring at the roof when you don't know your own name? You can't converse with your family and joke and tell a happy time or really share any information, interpret logical information with your family or other friends who come to see you. That's not much of a life ending. So now if you think about the last time you had surgery, the surgeon, the anesthesiologist gives you a little injection in your sleep and you go to sleep very quietly, and you go to very, very quiet sleep. And that's what the right to die with dignity does. It lets you leave this world in a nice, quiet, peaceful state with no worry, no pain and suffering. Now, the fact that there's a lot of belief out there we're going to meet our Maker, that may be true. It may be true. We're going to find out when it happens, but not until. So I don't think we should be worried about that, because we should be worrying about our life end. How do we want to end our life? Do you want it to be peacefully? And the old story is about the two guys were talking. He said, how do you want to die? He says, well, I want to be like my grandfather, dying in his sleep. Not like the passenger screaming in the back of his car. So he died at the wheel, and who knows, if you die at the wheel of a car, you could take a bunch of people with you, oncoming vehicles and also passengers in your car. So they say it's a very serious topic, and I'm trying just to encourage some discussion, and I'm not trying to shove anything down your throat. I'm just trying to say how I feel. And I've seen some very nice friends of mine, friends that I've had for 30, 40 years, die in a very undignified manner, laying in bed, suffering, and can't say anything, can't talk, can't smile, can't laugh, can't eat properly. And people are cutting a hole in your throat so they can pour food down into your stomach so you can eat. To have more existence where you can't talk, you can't smile and laugh and share the good times we had before. I think the right to die with dignity is a very sensible and a painless end to life. There are people out there who will say, oh no, you can't do that, that's suicide. But remember, it's your life, and it's your choice how you want to leave. Now just think about how peacefully it is when you go to sleep at night, and you go to sleep very quietly, and you drift off to sleep. It's the same thing as the anesthesiologist putting a little injection in your arm and letting you go to sleep very peacefully. And that ends your life very quietly. No pain and suffering, and you wind up where you wind up. Now, if the Bible is telling us the truth, we'll wind up in heaven, I guess. But I'm not going to worry about spend a lot of time about that. I'm more worried about how my end of life is going to be, and I want to control that. I want to be able to say, no, when I go, I want to be pain and suffering free and an easy passing, just into a nice, peaceful sleep. And after that, the cremation will be held at my instruction, and the ashes will be spread in locations where my wife's ashes are. And after that, I'm history. So I wanted you to just review this and tear it apart. If you want to make some comments about, you're thinking about backwards, I don't agree with it, that's fine, that's your choice. But I'm giving you my opinion, and that's the way I'm handling mine. Whether you think it's right or not, that's fine, that's your choice. Everybody has the freedom of choice. So I wanted you to see things from my point of view, and if you think they're wrong, make some comments on as a response. Let's have some discussion going. But in the meantime, we have to be thankful for each and every day, and each and every thing we can do, walking and talking and meeting people, telling a good joke, meeting new friends, and renewing old acquaintances, walking and talking and driving and going to shows and playing music or going fishing, whatever you enjoy doing. Let's live in the moment, because we never know how many moments we've got left. So I'm encouraging people to take a look at the Right to Die with Dignity, and the forms are available on the internet. Go on Google and you can download Right to Die with Dignity forms. Type in Right to Die with Dignity forms Canada or BC, and download them, or talk to your doctor and have the forms filled out and made ready. Let your family know what you want, and but in the meantime, it's not a matter if we're gonna die or not. It's just a matter of when. But in the meantime, if there's anything that you enjoy doing, or you've heard a new joke, share that. Share a laugh, share a smile, be kind to people, and let's enjoy every moment of our life we have left, and live in the moment. So I'm living in the moment now, sharing my information with you, and have yourself a great day. And it's been fun sharing information with you. We look forward to sharing in the future. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.